To do something a little different today. We're going to just go raw. It's one camera. It's Aaron and I in a room. So if you have questions, he'll be monitoring us on Facebook and YouTube. What are we going to be talking about today? We're going to talk about year one. There's a lot of you guys out there that are thinking about how to start your business, how to get business. And so I did a little digging. I kind of crawled back into time, if you will, and looked at what it was like at Blind and how we got work. So this is all the origin story. It's also the opening weekend of Wonder Woman. It's an origin story. All comic book stories start with how the hero got his powers, or her powers in this case. But for me, that's what I'm going to be talking about. Also, a lot of you guys have questions, and we're going to be spending the next, hour with you. And we're going to try to answer as many of your questions as possible. And I want to apologize for everybody who's been hitting me up on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, sending me messages from all over the place. It's been very difficult for me to answer the complicated questions, so we'll try to use this format today to answer your business-related questions, okay? And if you're in the creative space, if you're an architect, a chef, an illustrator, a designer, an animator, motion person, it doesn't matter, you're just a creative human being, and you want to know how to thrive in the 21st century, the knowledge economy, and let your passion also be your profession, this is the episode for you. So here we go. No fancy titles, nothing. We're going to get into it. Let me tell you about what it was like in year one, okay? I have some notes here. Let me find my notes. All right. First of all, Blind was formed in 1995. We're in a small loft in downtown Los Angeles in the art colony known as the Brewery. And it was me and my girlfriend at that time, now my wife, in a loft. And the loft was $1,200 for 2,000 square foot space. It was beautiful. It was just wide open and it was amazing. So let me tell you some of the conditions there. One is we had $5,000 of investment capital. That's what we're working with, $5K. It's all you need to start a company. And I'll tell you more about that later. My student loans were not going to kick in till about 9 months later. So I knew I had runway of about 9 months. So really my only concern was paying rent, which I thought I could manage for $1,200. Pay off any kind of existing credit card bills that I had, which you can pay the minimum. I don't recommend that, obviously, but as long as I was able to do that and buy some food, I was good. I was not a big spender. I wasn't out buying fancy clothes. I still had the car that my parents gave to me. It was basically a hand-me-down from my older brother, a Nissan 200 SX hatchback with the flip-up lights. That was my car, okay? It was nasty. It wasn't great. One of the headlights didn't really flip up properly, but that's all it was. Okay, so what were the problems starting a design company, a creative business in 1995 with no experience? Well, the first thing is I had no experience, but that's obvious. I had a student portfolio. What that meant was it looked like student work, and some of you guys know what I'm talking about in that you can tell almost like, oh, that was for that professor's class, or that was that type exercise that we all know about. And it didn't look like real work because probably it was too crazy. You can always tell student work because either A, it doesn't look very good, or B, it looks like no client would ever hire you to do that. It's too self-serving. So the student portfolio, that was an issue. So the goal for you as a new graduate or somebody who is self-taught is to make work that looks like work that other professional companies make. That's critical. I had essentially zero business skills, zero. I didn't know anything about sales and marketing, sales or business strategy. Actually, those weren't even terms I was aware of. So that's how ignorant I was about the business world. I had 2 computers, one printer. And the printer I borrowed from my ex-girlfriend. So that's how we had it done. And we were networking the computers together via Apple Talk. And you guys know, in terms of sharing files, we had a sneaker net. And why is it called a sneaker net? Because you would take the file and you would walk it over to the next workstation and hand it to the person and they would plug it in. And that's how we did it. So those are the problems of year one, 1995. Low overhead, no work to speak of. And so now the rest of the time I'm going to talk about all the projects we got. How do we get projects in the first place? Okay, so I'm going to talk for a little bit and then you guys formulate your questions, and I'm going to give you some time to think about your questions because it's not really conversational, so you have to really package your question up really nice and tight and be very clear about what you're looking for. Otherwise, I'm going to hear Aaron ask it, and then I'll bounce it back, and you're going to lose your kind of place in the queue, if you will. Lose your place in line, okay? Now, as I was graduating, my work was part of the Adobe After Effects, I think it was 1.0 demo reel, and there were a few student projects on there. Mine was one of them. And this little thing became my lead magnet or my sales tool, because I didn't have any sales tool to work with or to talk about. So oddly enough, when Adobe released this package, After Effects 1.0, I got 2 new business calls. Both led to work, and it was pretty interesting. The first call was from a guy named David Newberger over at Novacom. And Novacom at that time was a super hot shop in Hollywood on Santa Monica or Sunset. I think it was on Santa Monica in Hollywood. And I got called in to do some work. And at that point in time, I barely knew what I was doing in broadcast. I would mess up the square pixel to non-square pixel stuff. But I got to sit in a room and charge a day rate and work next to some other talented people. And the benefit there was this. I started to learn about broadcast, and it was a very exciting time. I got to showcase some of my design skills, and my strength was really in typography. And this is just pure luck, pure serendipity, is that I got to sit next to this guy who had been painting in Photoshop for years, and he was great at it. I think he went to Cal State Long Beach, and I would just like peek over his shoulder and ask him like, hey, how'd you do that? How'd you make that type look 3D? Are you using a 3D program? He goes, no, I just do this. And he started showing me how to use the brush and the gradient tools to create that effect. Like, I know how to use them, but I didn't know that's how he did it. So he was able to create cool bevel effects and make type look like 3D. And Novacom at that time was really a big player in moving 3-dimensional type through space and doing really elaborate broadcast design packages. So that was super cool. The other person who called me up was a guy named Gary Brees. And this is an interesting relationship because Gary owned a company called Focus Productions, and a lot of people at that time needed to create a cool opener for their reel. Gary was in the live action production space. He would do a lot of corporate videos, media toolkits, that kind of thing. And so Gary hired me to design a title sequence for him for his reel. And we did a really cool countdown timer, and I used a lot of grungy footage and scratchy bits, and at that time that was considered pretty innovative. Now you can just get a plug-in and it does it for you automatically. But we did that, and what was interesting thing that happened there was, as I finished the animation for that project and then his logo came up, he kind of like, Chris, you know what you did was really cool, but now it feels like I stole some cool animation for some kid and then I slapped my logo on at the end. So I need a new logo. Actually, I need a new identity system. So design me a logo, a letterhead, envelope, mailing labels, and cassette labels, and all this kind of stuff. So that one thing of appearing on Adobe's demo reel got me 2 jobs. One of them could have turned into a full-time job, and the other one turned into a client/friend, because I had known, or I stayed in touch with Gary for many years until he moved out of Los Angeles, and he helped me out a lot. He gave me advice on things. He when I got into a jam with using the Avid, he was like, oh yeah, you need to do this and that. It was a complicated setup, so that was awesome, right? So if you guys are out there in the world, we've talked to you about this, but I can't say this enough. You gotta be where clients are. You cannot expect them to come to you. Now, we had this great portfolio, I thought, and I went to this very prestigious school, but nobody cares. In the real world, nobody cares about any of that stuff. You got to go to them. And I was lucky because I got on the reel and it went out to people. So the work went out to people. So what's today's equivalent? Because people are not buying packages of software anymore, and you don't get a CD-ROM anymore. So the one way that you can do this that I'm aware of that is very effective is to be on Behance. Just get on Behance. Stop complaining about it. Stop trying to figure other stuff out. This is where people go to look for people who they want to work with. So what you need to do is to be discoverable by people in the space in which they're looking for work. Get off of those other platforms like Fiverr or Upwork or Elance or any one of those broker sites, because they're looking for discount people. Okay? So we're not going to talk about that too much anymore. I'm going to move on. The next way we got work was, I worked at Cole & Weber, an ad agency, for about 4 months. And then I went back to school and finished school, so I no longer worked there. But my previous employer gave me work opportunities when he found out that I was starting up a motion design company. So he looked for things that we could do. And consequently, I got a job for working on K2 skis. You guys know the ski company K2. We did a 30-second commercial for them. That was an awesome job. And we also got a job from him to do a Nike commercial, believe it or not, because he also left Cole & Weber and he went over to Wieden & Kennedy, and they do all the Nike advertising that you see and love. And that gave me an opportunity to work on a high-profile client, a big brand that was recognizable. It was for Nike Latin America, and it was for the 7 Deadly Sins, and it was a soccer or football spot or campaign, and that was really cool. We got to animate some really cool titles using black letter. All right. Next up was another commercial. This was for the Partnership for Drug-Free America. It was a anti-meth commercial, and this was using all typography. And we got this job because a classmate of mine, Michelle Doherty, the person that she was dating at that time, was an art director at an agency. And he couldn't throw us a big project, but he could throw us a small project like this, a PSA, public service announcement. And we worked on this thing, and the budget was $700. And we worked on this thing, and it was bloody hard, but we were grateful for the opportunity. We did the work and got another commercial under our belt. So you're going to hear a theme today, and if you haven't figured that already, the theme is it's the friend network that you develop at the college that you go to school at. And so I'm going to tell you one person after another how the school that I went to and the people that I met and the impression that I made on them helped me to get work as I was starting this nascent company called Blind. Next up, my dear friend, Kimberly Jew. And Kimberly was dating Kyle Cooper, and she introduced me to Kyle. And at that time, it was RGALA. Then it became Imaginary Forces, and now Kyle's with Prologue. You guys have seen that video where I've interviewed him. I've remained friends with Kyle and Kim throughout the years. And by introducing me to Kyle, wonderful things happened to me. One, I got to work on some really cool projects, the coolest projects that I'd ever worked on at that time. I got to work on an in-movie sequence for Celtic Pride, or is it Celtic Pride? Celtic Pride, like Boston Celtics. And it was Dan Aykroyd and Damon Wayans, I think that's his name, okay? And we got to do some really cool experimental typography. And the coolest part about working with Kyle at that time was no matter how experimental the work was, he approved it all. So it was kind of like this dream thing. And it was awesome. I got to work on the Eraser main title. So that was the first big main title I've ever worked on. And right out of the gate, this is the time when Arnold Schwarzenegger's career was at an all-time high. I got to work on the main title sequence for the Island of Dr. Moreau. I got to design the logo and a lot of the keyframes that influenced the ultimate sequence. I got to work on a Reebok spot where Kyle needed some production design, and so I was doing layouts for the actual commercial itself. Not graphics to be on screen, but it appeared within the environment. Lastly, got to work on a Taco Bell national end tag, the thing that is the button that ends all the commercials for the Nothing Ordinary About It campaign. So I got a lot of exposure in that way in terms of being exposed to really cool projects. The downside to all of this stuff was we're subcontractors, so the clients never met us, nobody knew about us, and all the credit and glory goes to the company that hired you. Naturally, nothing to complain about there. But the coolest part to all that was this. Let me put this note down here. The coolest part about working at Imaginary Forces / RGA at that time was I got to see how you design a storyboard sequence, because I did not learn this in school. And I remember very vividly sitting there oftentimes waiting for Kyle to come and review the work with me, and I would see a stack of storyboards leaned up against the wall on gray mat board, and they were just sitting there, and I assume if they put me in the room there was no issues about non-disclosure agreements or anything, and they were just pitch concepts they were presenting. And then I was able to walk over there and rifle through the boards one after another and kind of look at what's going on. And by doing that, I saw patterns emerge. When you see 7, 8, 12 different ideas for one client, you know, something happens. And that light bulb went off in my head. And then it became very clear to me when Kyle's like, your work doesn't have a story, doesn't have a concept. Now I understood what he was talking about. If he just showed me those 8 boards at the beginning, this is what we present to our clients. Oh, I get it. So that was awesome. And also from being at RGA, I got to meet Garson Yu of Yu & Company to work on the Copelson Entertainment logo, which I worked on that with him. Also worked on Ridley Scott's production company, Scott Free, coming up with some concepts for that. That was fun. I got to work with a guy named Rob. I don't remember Rob's last name, but on a direct TV campaign. So those were really cool projects. I got a couple more, maybe 2 more here. Yeah, I got 2 more people I want to share, and then we're going to open it up to questions, and you guys can talk about whatever you want, and I'll do my best to answer the questions. Aaron, are we doing okay on questions or comments? People are cool?
Yeah, I'm building them up here.
All right, cool. You highlight them, all right? Anyways, a good friend of mine, still to this day, his name is Jason Hoover, and he's an industrial designer. Well, he got a job at a game game developer, Zatrix Entertainment. They're not around anymore, but I got to work on a logo design for a new intellectual property thing that they were launching called Star Hunters. So I got paid to do that. That also led to me doing key art for a game that they were doing called Kingpin. The Kingpin of Crime. It was a first-person shooter. I had never played first-person shooter prior to that point, and that was really fun. We got to develop the logo and the box art, and that was fun. My friend Vanessa Marzaroli, also from Art Center and a friend of mine to this day, she introduced me to the fine folks over at E! Entertainment. So we wound up doing broadcast design for them, doing Sunday stunts, working on E! True Hollywood Stories, doing the main title sequence for that, and a bunch of other things. So we wound up working with E! for a little over a year, maybe 2 years, can't remember. And this is how we got work. It was all part of the friend network and building up our portfolio and our experience. So in a matter of months, I was able to put away the student work. That's all gone. And if you guys haven't seen my student portfolio yet, I'll provide a link down below for you guys, and you guys can watch that. It's called My First Portfolio or something like that, and you can see it, okay? And that was really exhilarating for me because it took me 4 years to develop that student portfolio, and it took about 3 months to replace the entire portfolio because I was doing all these cool projects, and it felt like, wow, this is where I need to be. This looks professional to me now. Last but not least were my 2 friends, and at that time we weren't great friends. We're kind of classmates, not classmates. We went to the same school, and I was introduced to these 2 people, the 2 directors in the film department, Kim Jacobs and Alon Breer, and they had asked me to help them out with their student commercial spec projects. So I would do title designs for them, supers as we would call it, and that was great. And a lot of times you help other students out, you think nothing will come out of this. It's just 2 students helping one another out. But good thing is, talented people, they go out into the world and they become influential, and if you were good to them, they might be good to you. I don't know. These guys were. They introduced me to 2 people, 2 very important people. One was Sebastian International, the hair product beauty company, multi-billion-dollar company. We wound up doing their website, and this is like Web 1.0, and it was a super exciting time. That turned into an assignment, and we designed the website, and we got a maintenance contract, so money was coming in on a retainer basis for about a year, and that was pretty awesome. She also introduced me to 2 people, the co-founders of Inside Out, one of which I still stay in contact with. His name is Igor Kovalik, and Igor had me designing the identity system for his company, Inside Out. So we designed that, and later on, Igor rebranded as Beast, so we did that, and we designed the Beast website. So these are like long-term relationships. And the cool thing about that was, while working with them for Inside Out, they introduced me to one of their clients, which was for a Buick car commercial. And this was an amazing job. This is all within year 1, I think, with director Pam Thomas. And that was awesome. So I got to do some supers for a Buick car commercial. So this is a national ad, meaning it appeared all over the country. Okay? So you're going to notice some themes. One, I had some friends, and those friends were really instrumental in getting me work. And this is part of the reason why you go to school. The Harvard network is amazing. A lot of people go to Harvard just because of that network. The other thing you notice is I had a lot of friends that were female that helped me out. That's a coincidence, but that worked out really well. So I owe a lot of my career to these really super awesome women and Mr. Jason Hoover. All right, let's open up to questions, guys. We're going to talk to you now. Anything business related, guys, business or creativity. I don't want to talk anything about your portfolio or getting critique on like lettering or anything like that. This is not what this episode is about. And I have another, say, 40 minutes to talk to you. So, Aaron, let's go with the questions. Which mic are you talking into?
This one here.
All right. Go ahead, Aaron.
Oh, wait, no, sorry. This
Yeah,
one.
it's that one right there, the last one. Yeah.
Okay, so this one's pretty good.
Okay. You got to speak right into the mic, man.
What is your research process when figuring out how to solve a business problem? Example, like customer interviews. How do you do it?
A business problem in my research process? Who's asking that question?
James Barnes.
James Barnes, give me a little bit more context, buddy. I told you have to be very clear with this kind of stuff. I don't want to go off on a tangent here because this question, I don't know what you want to know.
Well, what's your research process for your projects?
I don't have a research process for my business problems. For my creative process, I do, but this is all about business, right? So what do you think he wants to know, Aaron?
Well, like what you told Mark Cassie when he's doing the Spartan logo.
Yeah,
You
but
walked
that's a
over to
creative
him to
thing. We
research.
want to talk about business, you guys.
Okay.
That's cool. I will be happy to talk to you about creative things, but I want to keep it under this container of business-related things, okay? So
I got another one here
okay, go
from
ahead. Fire
Taylor
away.
Jones.
So first, who is it?
Taylor Jones.
Taylor Jones.
How do you make a project look client-serving? Because you mentioned that.
Client what?
Serving.
Client serving. Making projects look client serving.
Yeah.
How do I make projects look client serving?
I think as opposed to student looking.
Oh, okay. The
portfolio.
differences between a student portfolio and professional work, if that's the question you're asking, well, student portfolios tend to use experimental typefaces, crazy layouts. It doesn't have all the necessary information that you normally see. So one way that you can make your student project look real, let's say you're designing a movie poster, if you put all the credit information down at the bottom, all of a sudden your student work looks real instantly. If you're designing a package and you put the barcode, or a magazine layout and you put the barcode and the month, the date, and the price, then it looks real. So what you do is you just emulate. So you study what something is and you copy it in terms of its format and its structure, and then all of a sudden it looks real. And that's what you're trying to do. Okay? God, my leg's all funny right now. Okay, what else? Like I've been standing here planted, and so now my legs are getting a little stiff here, you guys. All right. What else you got for me? Internets, come strong.
So this guy, he's a freelance videographer. His name's Manuel Valenzuela.
Okay, Manuel.
And he says he wants to create branded content for companies and brands. What kind of content storytelling should he be making for his audience?
Is that a business question again?
It's like business development.
Is it business development? So rephrase that question so that it's a business question for me. Because you're talking about like how do you tell the brand story, and then you're getting into story structure, you guys, and I want to answer that question. But again, come to me with the business question. So many of you guys have business questions and you're hitting me up all over the place, and they're very complicated for me to try to type back into the internet. So let's do it business, man. Well, I want to help you, but give me a business question, you guys.
Okay, here's one.
Okay. Maybe check Facebook too, in case.
Yeah,
right,
I'm checking all of them here.
You are, all right. Thanks.
What's the most important aspect of creating a graphic design agency's design process?
Okay, I think I can answer this question. What you want to do is you want to make visible, you want to make transparent how you get from point A to point B. And that's really critical, okay, guys? It doesn't matter if you're doing editorial, if you're doing branded content or web, identity design, it doesn't matter. How did you go from A to B? So typically from A, we have the client brief. What's the problem you're trying to solve? Usually those are just words, okay? And all the way to the end of the spectrum, what is this one about, Aaron, specifically?
What's the most important aspect of creating a graphic design agency's design process?
Yeah, so graphic design agency, I don't even know what that means, okay? You guys have to be a lot more specific with your questions. Like somebody will say graphic design agency, like I don't know what you do. Do you design brochures? Do you design business cards, identity systems? Just tell me what you do. Be very clear and be super precise. You're not helping me out because I call myself a graphic design agency at times, and we probably do very different things.
Well, maybe just share a little of your process.
All right. So if you look at our website, you can see our process and we describe it very clearly. I would say break your process down into like 5 steps. 5 is a good number. 3 might be too much, 7 might be too granular, okay? Take it down to 5 steps. Client brief. What's the next step? Maybe we do wireframes, we do some kind of concept models, we do some research and we present it, and then we start to whittle it down. So that might lead us into an identity design, we write some copy and messaging, and then we show the application. So the end product, the things that we make, are at the end, and we don't lead with that, okay? We have to break down the process. Now, why is this even important? Because when a client is looking at your work from afar before they even call you or email you, they want to know what are they getting involved with. And you'll notice that the bigger the company, the more refined their process is in terms of how it's documented and how it's consistent. Because we've talked about this before. Clients don't choose the best option, they choose the least risky option. Well, how do you mitigate risk? How do you reduce risk? You reduce risk by showing them your process and it's consistently applied. So it seems like you almost have a creative recipe. And if I like your recipe, I'm more inclined to call you. Here's the problem. If you take steps 1 through 4 off the table and you just leave 5 there, it's a mystery to me how you achieve this. Who are you talking to? What problems did you solve? What kind of innovative solutions did you come up with that were tailor-built for this problem, you see? And that's why in one of my other videos I said, tell your brand story. And this is part of what you're doing. You're going to talk about your process, your why, what motivates you, what kind of problems you're trying to solve, what benefits you create for your customer, and that's what's important. Next question, Aaron.
Okay, now I feel like they're getting better.
Are they getting better?
Yeah,
I have to like
good
spank
ones.
you guys a little bit? Come on.
More business question.
I just want to talk business with you guys for this episode only, because we'll go back into the Photoshop tutorial tomorrow, okay?
Okay, so I got two good ones. I'm going to ask you one.
Paraphrase it, please.
So,
what do they want to know?
They want to know basically about your proposals. What would be like just an outline of like the table of contents for a proposal you send out?
Great. That's a good question. Who asked that question?
I don't know. I didn't copy down his name.
All right. Well, whoever asked that question, that was a good question. I hope you guys were able to hear it. What's an outline of a proposal? Okay. The bigger the company, your client, the bigger the budget is potentially, the more in-depth and thorough your proposal needs to look. Okay. Now, typically, your clients will send you an RFP. That stands for Request for Proposal. And what they're looking for is a response, a proposal. And this is what you call it. This is the response, right? And they're typically, in almost every proposal I've done in the last couple of years, there's a bio. They want to know who they're working with. So you have to have a bio page of all the key players and supporting team members, roles and responsibilities. They're going to want to know references, other big clients that you've worked with, and any kind of testimonials and contact information, because they're going to call them up. Remember, they're like vetting you right now, and they're trying to make sure you're qualified to do the work. Some of them will ask you for financials, but that doesn't happen very often. And then they want to see your process. So the whole brand story, your process, the 5 steps, that's going to be in your proposal. And they want to see relevant case studies. So typically what we do is we open up, we do a little quick intro page. Hello, thank you for the opportunity. And you put some specifics in there, and then you get right into the proposal. And everybody has a different strategy for this. I like to get right into what the problems are. So what we'll do is we'll start off with top 3 objections we think the clients are asking us. Your team is not big enough. You don't have expertise in this field. Or can you work with our internal marketing teams? And you figure out what those 3 things are by talking to the client and thoroughly reading through their RFP and highlighting what you think is important, and then answering that in your response, okay? And you also have to keep in mind, you're not bidding in the dark. There are other people out there who are gonna be bidding against you, so you have to assume, what's the competition look like, and how are we different from them? It's not just about presenting the best you, but the best you in light of the competition you're gonna be facing, okay? If you guys want to know more about that, we produce a whole kit. It's called Overcoming Objections and Selling Strategy. We get into all the parts and pieces, and there's a whole matrix for you to use. But that's typically what you do, okay? Let's go on to the next question, Aaron. I hope that was helpful to you guys. I need a drink.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
apparently they really like this question.
They do?
I feel like no, this next one I'm thinking of asking you. A lot of people are asking the question like, how do I grow my business, get bigger clients?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are asking that.
How do you grow your business and get bigger clients? Okay. How do you grow your business? Well, are you getting enough work to begin with? A lot of people are only getting enough work to support themselves. So how do you get beyond this? Okay, you have to realize something, you guys. You have to make this distinction right now, right here. And there's a reason why there's a whole freaking episode. Actually, there are 2 episodes on this thing about the differences between a freelancer and a business. Okay, when you're a freelancer, you do all the work yourself. So I'm going to say if you're a freelancer and that's what you want to do, that's cool. You're in this other category. I'm going to focus on all the other people who want to grow a business. And the business can have exactly 1 employee, and that's okay. So here's what you're going to do. The first project you're able to get and secure in-house, you need to make sure you bid that project in such a way that you can pay somebody else a fair, reasonable wage for the day, for the week, for the project, that they will do the work and that they meet a certain criteria for quality, and that you're still able to make profit on top of that, even if you don't touch any parts of the project. So if you get a project for $100, you're not going to want to spend more than $50 producing that work. Okay, so if you can't find somebody for $50, it's telling you you're pricing the project for too little money. If you operate under this kind of mentality, you'll be able to grow your business, because your single greatest value to your company at this point in time, your single greatest value is to go and secure other clients and to service the existing client. And when I mean service, I mean you're almost like the account person. You're talking to them, you're trying to understand what the bigger problems are, and you're making sure that the work is solving that problem. A lot of times designers come in with baggage. They saw something on TV, or they looked through a magazine, or they're thumbing through something on Pinterest and like, wow, that's a really cool project. I can't wait for the next project because I'm going to do that thing. I'm going to do that Aaron Droplin thing, right? And so you hire that designer and you look at the portfolio. It's full of great, wonderful, diverse work, and they wind up doing something that is totally inappropriate for the client. And so what you're doing is you're redirecting them. You're kind of bringing them back on target. And that's your role as the art director, as the creative director, to make sure they're solving the problem and not just exercising their own creative whims, okay? So if you're able to charge more than what you're paying to get the work done, you're at the beginning stages of having a business, and that's what I've done almost since day one. Rewinding the tape, year one, when I got work from Lewis Hall, and he called me to do a lot of logo design work, which I was pretty good at doing, I brought in my friends and I hired them right away. And they didn't have work, so we worked at a fair rate, an hourly rate. Maybe it's, I don't know, $30 an hour at that time. I can't remember. And they would do the work, and they would get the work pretty close. So what I would do is one of 2 things. One, I would coach them up, saying, let's tweak this, let's do that, and then that's going to be really good. Or 2, if time ran out and they had to go home or whatever, I still had a professional obligation to deliver the work. I would open up their file, jump into the program, and make the tweaks that I was going to tell them to do. And then I would submit that work. Now, on the other end is the client, and then they get this work. As long as the work meets your standards and solves the problem, they're thrilled. Most clients don't really care who made it as long as you deliver it. Now, if the work is less than, then they have a problem, and then you have to resolve that. But that's how you guys do it. I hope that was helpful. And how do you get bigger clients? Well, you have to be bigger yourself. You have to look bigger. Now, there's the law of attraction. The law of attraction says like attracts like, meaning billionaires like to hire billionaires, millionaires like to hire millionaires, and so on and so forth, okay? If you want a multi-million-dollar company to hire you, and you look like a fly-by-night operation operating out of your garage, out of your mom's garage even, well, they feel funny. They feel like, you know what? You're going to screw up the job. You're not at the level in which they're at. Now, some of this can be achieved with mindset and messaging, but guess what, you guys? Designers, creative people are really good at making something look a lot more expensive than it is. The thing is, you have to apply that same art and craft to your own work, okay? Now, a lot of you guys out there are self-taught, and I'm saying this to you, and you're like, yeah, my work is really good. And then you send me the work, and I think, no, it's not. It's not good at all. It's you need to learn the fundamentals, okay? And I want to clear up something because we've talked about this before, but it seems to be like we're still struggling with this, is that a lot of you guys that are self-taught doesn't mean you didn't get an education. It just means you hacked the education system, so you didn't pay the full price for the education, but you still got the same education. That's the critical difference. Self-taught doesn't mean you never picked up a book, you never went to a class, you never learned something. That's not self-taught. You're a self-learner. So go learn something, go enroll in a class, go practice, go hang out with some friends and learn their craft. You do have to learn the fundamentals because maybe your hand skills aren't what they need to be to design a logo. Maybe your eye hasn't been trained to see quite yet. Maybe you can't spot the differences between a poorly kerned logotype and a beautifully kerned logotype. Maybe you don't know what a ligature is. Maybe you don't know what a sender or descender or the terminal. You need to know these things. And the good news is there is no better time to be alive. This information is everywhere. It's everywhere, and a lot of it is for free. Free right here on this channel, free on other channels, and you can download an electronic PDF. For example, Marty Neumeyer's The Brand Gap. That thing is available for free as a PDF download. You don't even have to pay $25 for it. If you search PDF book, The Brand Gap, you can get it for free, and it's totally legal. All right? Let's move on. Aaron,
Okay.
is that good?
Yeah.
Right.
So people.
Is anybody doing a super chat function here? Is anybody dropping money on us?
No.
No,
I'd let
okay.
you know if we
You
were.
cheap wankers. I'm just kidding. Okay, who's up next?
Okay, so we're getting a lot of people want to know, how do you recommend building your network if you didn't go to design school? Like, what's a good way to build a team?
That's tough. How do you build a team if you didn't go anywhere? Well, all you hermit crabs, all you recluse, meaning like you like hide in a room somewhere in a dark dungeon, eating Cheetos or whatever you're doing, you got to get out. You got to be exposed to the light. You got to go meet people. Now, you can join groups. That's easy too. You can join virtual groups and you can meet up with people. And if somebody posts something that's interesting or you like their point of view, well, befriend them, talk to them. And the great news is this. Everybody that's on social media is very accessible. And people sometimes freak out when I respond to them. I'm like, well, what else would I be doing? If I'm not responding to you, why am I trying to build up a social platform? Why am I trying to build up an online community? You just have to get over yourself and reach out to people and start talking and building a relationship. But here's the thing. You have to remember this, you guys. Don't let your first interaction be one of wanting and asking and taking. I don't know you. And if you're going to reach out to somebody, try to be of service to them first. Their time is valuable. I got people sending me questions for all kinds of things, pitching things to me. It's like, I'm just going to hit delete, okay? Here's my number one rule here. Not a number one rule. One of my rules for social media. People connect with me on LinkedIn. Some I accept, some I don't, whatever. The ones that write me a really interesting note, I accept. And if your first interaction with me is, hey, I want to help your team sell this or buy that, and it's like, you know what? I'm deleting you right now. You don't even know me. You don't know anything about me, and you're going to ask for me to buy something from you? Forget about it. Not interested, okay? So you can reach out to people online. You can grow your network by joining groups and forums. You can go to meetups. Whatever town you're in, there's a meetup going on somewhere. And if you live in a really small town when there's no creative people around, well, you have to make a big decision. Why are you still in that town? What's keeping you there? Get out. You have to go meet people. And there's an exercise. When I was lecturing in Las Vegas for a post-production world, I said, practice a random act of kindness. Go meet people that way. Okay? If you see somebody needing help with a heavy object, go help them. If you see somebody who's lost, give them some directions. Ask them, do you need help? Get out there. Get social, guys. That's what it's about. Next question, Aaron. We have another 15 minutes or so, you guys, before I'm going to run out of steam here. Okay? So let's come in with the good questions. Think about what you want to ask, and if there's a lot of activity, similar questions, then Aaron's going to bring them up. All right? Are we looking on YouTube or Facebook, or where are we?
Yeah, I'm looking through all the questions I found that were good, see which one I want to ask here.
All right.
Okay, here's a good one. I like this one.
Okay.
Adrian Lloyd. When potential clients look at your case studies and they're looking through your website, your case studies, the work you've done.
Yes.
What aspect of the case study is most important to them? So if you could channel what you know about clients and what they look for.
All right. What are they looking for in a case study?
Yeah.
I think they're looking for a clearly defined process, and I don't know how else to talk about that. So Andrew Lloyd, what is it that you do? And maybe we can break it down based on what it is that he does.
It's Adrian Lloyd.
Oh, Adrian Lloyd. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm not good with names. Adrian Lloyd. What does Adrian Lloyd do?
I guess his main question is what aspect of the case study is most important to them? Does it depend on the client then, is what you're saying?
No. I mean, it depends on what area of what industry you're in. And I can't
So it
just
depends.
give you a magic sauce for all things. So
Okay.
you guys, a little detail there might help. But let me just say this. You can build the world's most interesting, clearly written case study. But if the end product sucks, it sucks. I don't really care about your process, because if that's your creative recipe and crap comes out, I don't really want crap, and that's okay. So assuming that the work is really good, the end result is good, really document the steps. Now, I remember a while back, I went to an AIGA user interface sketching workshop, a UI workshop, and the woman that was working or teaching the class, she was awesome, and she would literally sit there and draw the iPhone out and draw all the buttons and the drop-down menus, and she took her time. And were these things works of art? I don't know, but they were pretty good-looking drawings that really made the process of designing and thinking through a user interface really sexy. And I think she referenced them as artifacts, like artifacts of design. And so you're going to want to spend time doing that, okay? Now here's where you guys will cut some corners and it'll show. So you put all your energies into the finished product, and you don't use any to document the process. And then you go back and you do something really quick and it looks ugly. Well, I want to make sure that whether it's real or not, it doesn't really matter, but that the entire process has been designed to your standard. So if the illustration doesn't look good, if the way you phrase it, the colors or the layout don't look good, that reflects on you. And designers are very good at making things look good, except for they don't always apply it consistently on everything that they do. All right, what's up? What's next?
Okay, so I just want to let you know, Don Mendez gave us $4.
Thanks, Don Mendez.
And a little message.
Appreciate
this info is worth much more. Thanks.
Thanks. I appreciate you, man. And I just also want to thank, I wasn't prepared to talk about this. A couple of you guys have stepped up and donated money on the Future site, saying, you know, here's $100. This is a $100 voucher of appreciation. So thank you very much. I do appreciate you, and I will be sending out a note specifically for you pretty soon. And that's really cool, guys. You know, we're out here, we're creating value, we're teaching you things that it's taken me decades and hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn. I'm sharing it with you guys. If you guys go out and you kill it, you win a job, you double your rate, throw us something, okay? That'll keep our production going and will allow me and Aaron and everybody else as part of the Future team, including Ben, to keep scaling and producing more content. You're gonna see, and I think you can see it now, where we used to produce one episode every 2 months, then we went to 1 month, and then 1 a week, and then now we're doing multiple episodes, all different kinds of content every single week, from podcasts, Photoshop tutorials, which we just did, talking about business stuff. Maybe I'll do a keynote one. I don't know. Aaron, what's the next question?
So Adrian Lloyd just followed up your question.
Okay, what do you say?
He does web design, print design for businesses.
Okay, that's like 2. Like, well, let's pick one, Adrian.
Well, it sounds like he's kind of trying to be like you.
Don't be like
I'm
me. Be like you.
I mean, no, like he's in the same business.
Yeah.
He wants to do what you do. So
Well, let me just say this. Let's just say you're a good web designer. Okay, we've said this before. If you guys can do one of these 3 things or all 3 at the same time, you're going to be doing really well in life. If you can design an identity, if you can build a website for somebody, design and build, and if you can do social media marketing, those are 3 key skills in the 21st century. Everybody needs an identity, a website, and social media marketing. They don't always know it, but they do need it. This is how business is done in the 21st century. It doesn't matter if you're a mom and pop shop or you're a multi-billion-dollar corporation, you need those 3 things. So let's just say you're going to do web design, okay? Well, you want to document your process in your case study. So what's the first step? Andrew? Aaron, what's his name? Adrian. God, I can't remember your name. Adrian, what's the first step? What's the second step, the third, the fourth, and the fifth? We know what it looks like when it's done. It looks like a cool website on a screen or an iPhone app. Okay, so you'll probably want to show that it looks good as a smartphone. It looks good on a tablet. It looks good on a desktop. So you're showing that you're thinking through responsive design. That's cool. That's pretty much standard requirement these days. Okay, and what are the other steps? User profiles for stage 1, maybe some user experience sketching, and you really beautifully kind of detail these things out, draw them on grid paper, and you're thinking through the problem. You're a good documentarian of your own work. And then maybe there's some visual design at stage 3, putting designs together and doing mock-ups. So it's somewhere between a wireframe and a mock-up, something like that. And then stage 5, and then you describe each and every process as part of your creative formula. Maybe that's how you do it, you guys. Next. That's how we do it. We get a little deeper than that, but maybe on another episode really soon, I'll break down our proposal deck or our case study. Would you guys like that? Give me some thumbs up if you guys want to see that. I can see him streaming in. I see 1 or 2 here coming on Facebook. Or maybe you don't need to see that. All right, what else?
Here's another one. I think 2 different people have asked the exact same question in a slightly different way. But how do you gauge a client's budget and how high they can go?
How do you gauge a client's budget? Okay, and how high can they go?
Yeah.
It's a game. I gauge the client's budget by just asking them. There's something that we call, or we don't call this, it's called price bracketing. And so you're going to take 2 numbers as goalposts. Is it between this number and this number? It's a game of, say, 21 questions, except for it's just really one question. Do you have between $2,000 and $8,000 to do this initiative? And that's when they say, no, you're way out of my price point. Then I ask them, well, what's your price point then? And then we work through it. You can't be afraid to ask somebody for something that you actually want. I do not want to go away building a budget for a client that we're not even in the same ballpark, okay? So the thing that I advise you guys to do, let's say you want $5,000 to design a website. That's a reasonable number, $5,000. Then what I would tell you is to bracket the price between 5 and 10 or 5 and 15, okay? That way, the least amount you're going to get paid is $5,000. But if you say, oh, for something for like $5,000, we can do. Then they come back and they're like, we can't really do 3,800. Will you do that? And you're like, yeah, I'll do it. So bracket the price 5 to 10. Have an open conversation with your client and see if you can do the project for them or not. And don't be afraid to say, this isn't going to work for me. I need to refer you to Susie or Johnny or Bobby or Mary or Mike. I'm going to refer you to somebody else because I just can't do it. Whoa. Before you refer us, tell us what you do again. I want to learn more about you. Okay, then let's work together. What's next?
Okay. So I guess this kind of dovetails into what you were just saying.
Okay.
Christopher.
Hey, can I see my screen? Am I too wide, Aaron? No, I guess we're good.
Screen.
We're good. Okay, good. Keep going. Look a little pale, but go on.
How do you overcome when, let's say, you're in talks with a client over a project and the client wants a bigger agency?
They always want a bigger agency. So.
But the guy says he knows he can deliver. So, like, he knows he can do this job. And
well, who cares what you know?
But I mean, so how can he, tell the client, dude, I can do this, don't trip?
Okay. Dude, I can do this, don't trip. Now, the way you overcome this, and maybe this is our last question, okay? Let's see what happens here. You're always going to go up against a smaller company and a bigger company. We cover this in the objection matrix and part of one of the kits that we sell. Okay, just know this. There's going to be a smaller company than you, meaning, believe it or not, even if you charge $50, there's somebody who's going to do it for 20. There's always somebody hungrier than you because there's always room between you and the freaking, what is it called, the basement? There's always room. And know that unless you're the giant 800-pound gorilla in the industry, which you're not, obviously, if you're watching the show, and that's the right. And so you know that somebody's more experience, has a bigger team, probably has more relevant case studies. They're also going to be in the mix. So the question is here, how do you defeat the smaller guy and the bigger guy? What do you do? What you have to do is create some doubt in the client's mind, believe it or not. And now we're going to get into some sneaky guerrilla warfare ninja stuff here, okay? So what makes you better than the little guy? Well, The little guy is a one-person shop. They don't have a lot of experience. If you want to save money, go work with them. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm actually pushing the client to do what they want, and that makes them not want to do it. Okay, it's kind of almost like reverse psychology here. It's like I want to cast doubt in the client's mind about why the smaller shop is going to drop the ball. Okay, how do I defeat the bigger company in the conversation with the client? Well, here's the thing, Mr. and Mrs. Client. The much bigger company, I'm sure they have a very large team, and I'm not sure who you're going to work with once they sell you the job. But you do need to know this. I'm a small business owner. You're going to be working with me. When you have a problem, you don't call an account director, you don't call a coordinator or producer, you call me and I will take care of the work. My professional brand, my reputation is built on me delivering. And if you want to call any of my previous clients, you're going to hear the same thing. I go above and beyond, okay? I give you high-touch personal service built for you. By the way, here's my cell phone number. Give me a call day or night if you need help. Even if you need help in keeping the other guys honest and evaluating their bid, I'd be happy to do that for you. So what am I doing here? I'm trying to cast out on both sides. I'm really trying to carve out my niche, and you can do that. And you can show them by demonstrating, not convincing, by demonstrating why you are a better option. That's the best answer I got, because really that's a 3-hour workshop and I don't have time for that right now. Okay?
So we got a bunch of people gave us some cash here.
Just throw out their names, Aaron.
Adrian Lloyd gave you $1 for that.
Hey, I appreciate it. What's your name?
Adrian Lloyd.
Adrian Lloyd, thank you. Thank you. What else? Who else?
Trent Williams.
Trent Williams, thank you very much.
I think those are pounds or euros.
Give me some pounds. That's like a pound.
And
this
then
is a pound?
Ahab Nimri, $10.
$10.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
This is great.
Ahab, really appreciate it.
I got a lot of good questions. We should keep going. Are you feeling up to it? Do you want to take a little break?
You know what? I'm going to drink some water.
Yeah.
Or my coconut water. You guys give me 2 minutes here. I'm going to just drink this.
Take a sip.
You killing me, Aaron? My throat's going to get broken again, huh?
There's a lot of good questions here.
All right, anything coming in from Facebook?
These are all from both.
Oh, they're from both.
Yeah.
Okay, Facebook, you guys are coming in strong. How many viewers we got on Facebook, Aaron?
144 on Facebook.
And how many viewers do we have on YouTube Live right now?
YouTube Live, 96.
Oh my gosh, Facebook is beating YouTube?
We just got another, I think these are Mexican pesos, 40 of them from Luis.
40, what am I going to buy with 40 pesos?
Octavio. Love the channel. Cheers from Mexico.
Well, no matter what, I appreciate it. You guys give what you can give. Totally appreciate it. This is like church or something. You guys give whatever you want. Don't give anything, whatever. We're here to take care of your, not your spirit, obviously your wallet. We're here to help you, okay?
Oh, actually, 2:30 on YouTube. Someone corrected me.
Okay,
Sorry.
thanks.
I don't know.
Aaron doesn't know how to count. Okay, good job. YouTube is still killing it. One day, Facebook will rival our YouTube audience when we're streaming live. I assume everybody is on Facebook because that works. We won't tell your boss. Okay, we got
another $16 from Don Melendez.
Don Melendez, I love the weird number of 16. That's beautiful.
You know what he said? He said, "This is getting better and better. Best way to spend a Friday night. Thanks, Chris."
Aw, Don Melendez? Is that his name?
Don Melendez.
Don Melendez, you know what? I appreciate you, brother. Okay.
You feeling up to another question here?
Let's hit me with a good one. Only good questions, otherwise I'll get angry. And you won't like me when I'm angry.
Let me see, where is it?
We ready? I got my note cards. I'm ready to write. I'm ready to do some damage.
Okay.
Go ahead.
If you were to create a self-directed project to hopefully attract clients, what criteria would you keep in mind?
Okay, that's a good question there. So you want to do a spec project, I assume, to attract a particular client because you don't have relevant experience in that space. So what I would do is I would profile the client. What kind of projects are they working on? What is their appetite for design? Do they like conservative design? Do they like something that's a little riskier and a little more avant-garde? So try to do something in the range of the ballpark of what they're doing, but don't do it exact because you need to do it better. Why do I say that? Because, well, if you do it exactly like the way they're doing it, What is a compelling reason to hire you, a new person that they don't know anything about, versus the old company they've always worked with? The only real reason there is price, and I hate to compete on price. I not only want to win the project, but I also want to be the highest bid. So don't undersell your services. So the thing is, you kind of have to profile your client. Look for a problem to solve. That's the best way to start, okay? And then spend your time crafting this project and then put it through your case study process. Now, here's the cool thing. If you design a spec project or something like that, and you know you're gonna have to build a case study, well, you'll spend your time now in each one of the phases making sure what you design looks good and is presentable and is clear. Different approach. Okay, got another question?
Yeah, everyone's just really grateful and sending their thanks from all over. It's just
I appreciate that, you guys.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of love.
I'm feeling love on a Friday night. It's beautiful.
Back.
Okay, check this out. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I'm feeling it.
You know that song? I get a lot of love, but I'm giving it back in the ghetto.
No, don't. Why don't you do a couple of bars of that, Aaron?
You should have thrown it in. Okay.
I don't know what that is.
Here's another one. So there was a lot of preamble on this question. It was a Facebook question.
Yeah, don't give me preamble, you guys.
So
get straight to the question and a little bit of context, all right?
So it says, at what point does it make financial sense for a creative studio to expand service options?
Okay. The urge is to want to expand your creative services because we want to hit everybody for everything, and that's a mistake. Don't do that, okay? The reason that you want to do it is because the clients that you're working with hire you for everything, and then you are naturally seeing some other gap, and they feel compelled to work with somebody else. That's when you should approach them and offer this up first. So for example, let's say you do identity design, that you've been doing their logo, their business cards, envelope, letterhead, those kinds of things, like traditional print stuff, print collateral. And then all of a sudden you realize they're starting to develop buildings or commercial real estate, and then they're going to do signage or wayfinding. This is a good opportunity for you to say, I hope you've enjoyed the work that we do. I've noticed that you're starting to do this kind of work. Would you consider us to do the signage? I know that's not our area of expertise, but the relationship has been great from our point of view. Is this something you're open to? Because if you are, I would love an opportunity to submit a bid for you. That's when you should expand. When you have a great relationship and it's a natural extension of what you do. Don't expand because you're not getting enough work and you think by offering more things that's going to help you. There's a saying, do less but do it better. That's what you want to do. Okay? Next question, please.
I just want to let you know we just got $300.
No.
$300.
No.
From Keith Evans.
Get out of town. I know Keith Evans.
It's your 10%.
That's my 10%?
He just doubled his rate and he's giving
Keith Evans.
love back.
Okay, Keith Evans, you have the new record for the single largest donation via Super Chat function. I appreciate you, brother. I know who you are. I've seen you online. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. $300 just for this mouth. Awesome. I'm going to have to tell my wife this tonight. Maybe she's watching. Maybe it was my wife disguised as Keith Evans. It's like, baby, there's no amount of money that, is too much. All right. What's your other question? I thought you said they're coming in strong.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
All right, pick one. Let's ping pong back and forth between Facebook and on YouTube. Guys, on Facebook, just do me a favor. Just right now, just go share this video, okay? Can we just take 1 second and share this video? If you can't give me $1, give me a share. Okay? All right, let's keep going. Oh, you know what? Are you thinking? Are you looking, or should I talk, or you got a question?
I got one. I'm trying to. I think these are so close together. I can make one question out
Beautiful.
of it. So this guy's asking.
I am tired.
What do you value most, like in a business? What's the most important thing, would you say, of your businesses?
What do I value most
in your businesses? What's like the most important thing you think is important? Does that make sense?
No, but let me answer the question, and then you tell me what you think they're asking. The most important thing in this business is to go make a profit, because without profit, we have no business. This is a hobby. You need to understand that I'm in business to be in business. I'm not in business because I enjoy this weird hobby called design or storytelling, okay? And what does the money do for us? It allows me to continue to pay the people who are making a decision to be here, that they can afford health insurance, which we pay for, they can sustain a certain lifestyle living in Los Angeles, and that they don't have to worry that next month they can't make rent. That's my job. My job is to go out and get projects and get clients who appreciate the work we do, who are going to pay us well for what we do, so that we can continue to build this team and this family that we have in the other room. All right? Is it too loud?
Someone complained. Yeah.
They just finally complained now? We've been broadcasting the whole time. All right. It's going to get hot in this room. Aaron just turned on the fan, so you're going to start to see me
That
sweat.
was it. Yeah, I fixed it. Good job.
You fixed it?
Yeah.
Yeah, good job, Aaron. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we were right under the vent over here. What's the question now? Are we good?
Yeah, hold on. That was just kind of the part one.
I think we're going to do an episode, Aaron, when we show people how to do this lighting setup. This is a new lighting setup, and it's really straightforward. You guys, if you guys like the way I'm looking, I'm not saying me, but just the lighting
The
on me.
look, yeah.
Yeah, if you like the look, we'll show you on another video. I think people love seeing those kind of videos, right? Like, how'd you get that look? Okay, what else?
We just got another $5.
Awesome, thanks, dude.
Ian Gatson.
Ian gets it. Ian gets it.
Gatson.
Gets.
A lot of people want an internship here, or
A lot of people want an internship. Look,
Yeah.
you guys can come here anytime you want. You just have to be good enough to be in here.
This guy asked, "What's the best way to ask you for an internship?"
The best way to ask me for an internship is to send us a link to your portfolio when we ask for it, and we have internships running throughout the year. You have to look for it on the site on gotoblind.com and look for job opportunities, and it'll say this is when we're looking for an intern, and you need to apply right then and there. Don't apply before that period, and obviously don't apply after, because we've already selected all of our interns. But we have interns coming here all year around. Send me a link. That's all you need. And make sure your freaking site works and it's clear what you do. Just say it. I'm an animator. I'm an editor. I'm a cinematographer. Say that. Don't say like I'm a visual communication artist extraordinaire, because I don't know what that is. Just tell me what you do in plain language, okay? Don't get fancy. Don't get so fancy with your words. All right. Simple is best, guys. Next.
What is it?
And you guys, let me just tell you this while Aaron's looking for the next question to ask, is this. As our operation grows, as the future becomes a bigger company and it outpaces Blind, the opportunities for internship and coming here to be part of the broadcast team will be greater and greater. We're slowly growing our team. We went from 0 employees to now we're up to 3. There's a new employee starting in a couple of weeks. She's going to be an awesome addition to the team. Her name is Molly Drill. And you're going to see all our work get better and better, okay? That's what's happening here. I hope one day that the future is kind of like Omni Media or something like that. Omni Media is Martha Stewart's production company, and they produce lots and lots of content. It would be great to come out into the office and look at 500 people, all these creative human beings, storytellers, researchers, writers, producers, animators, designers, helping us to make content, spreading the word, and helping the entire global creative world kind of just rise. There's that expression, a rising tide lifts all boats, and I believe in that very much so. What's the next question?
So, we got Spencer Foster.
Spencer Foster!
Is that the same guy?
That's the same guy, the man with
Okay.
one hand. Seriously, he's awesome. Spencer, what's up, man?
So, as far as he's asking, is it better to kind of stay with one guy that gives you work or one company?
No.
Or is it better to like build one solid relationship?
No.
Or kind of just, you know.
I like building relationships with clients, but you can't become too dependent on one client. It's like that girl that won't leave you alone, or that guy, just his whole world is around you, and you just it's suffocating. And some clients will not hire you if they represent more than 20% of your business, because it's dangerous for that to happen, okay? So what I would say is have a client and service them really well and continue to build a relationship with them, but don't be limited to just that one client. That happened to us. We had 2 big clients. We had Sebastian International, the hair product company, the beauty company, and we had E Entertainment. And within a month and a half, both clients stopped using us for different reasons. One, they had a big enough team. They didn't need us anymore. We got that. Other, creative people change and teams change, and they no longer wanted to work with us. They want to work with a different company. So we lost both accounts in a month and a half and had to lay everybody off in 3 months. Okay? So it's very dangerous to put all your eggs in one basket. Now, don't misconstrue what I'm saying by not saying that the clients you have are very important. They are very important. Take care of them, but don't be reliant on just a handful of clients. Dangerous. Okay, what's up? What's next?
Okay.
I'm gonna get another drink here of my delicious beverage.
Now, people keep commenting on the light that it looks like your head's just floating around.
Oh,
Probably
because of the background.
We didn't cut you out enough, see?
Yeah, because you didn't turn on the light. Turn this light on.
Should we turn it on?
Turn it
Let me
on.
see.
We'll fix this at the end of the broadcast. I told you need to put the rim light on.
Yeah.
I know what I'm talking about. But don't light it so that my head is glowing like a ball. Can you see now? Just hit it at the back.
Someone messed up.
I'm sure somebody messed it up. Oh, right. Hit my shoulder right here. Aaron's adjusting what we was referred as the hair light or rim light, and is used to cut you out from the background. We're going to fix this layout, guys. I called an audible. I felt like we hadn't done I know and didn't feel like we didn't do a live broadcast. I missed talking to you guys. I missed the interaction. I wasn't here last week. I was sick, so here we are. It's not totally set up, but is it better now, Aaron? Can you tell?
Oh, if I can see it?
Uh-oh.
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 Oh, no, we're good.
We're still good?
Yeah, we're good.
All right.
That's slightly better, but I need to do a more
Here, I'll turn it.
permanent
There.
solution.
Is that better?
We need to do one on each side, so what needs to happen?
No, we
I'm
need more
thinking-
space. We need more space.
More
You only need
space?
one light.
Yeah, if you
I
were
told you.
further back.
All you have to do is move that 2
right?
feet back and we're good. Okay.
Okay.
Let's go on, guys. Maybe one or two more questions. I'm going to keel over in a second.
Everyone's throwing you a lot of love, man.
Oh, I appreciate that, everyone.
Someone gave us $5 here. Thanks for the great content.
Thank you. Who
And
is that?
it's
Give us their name.
It's a him, Puya Khalil.
Puya Khalil. Maybe he's...
Khalili.
Khalili. Is that a Polynesian?
I'm
kind
not
of-
sure.
It's a
hard
cool
to
name, like Puya.
tell. Yeah, that is cool.
Puya. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thanks, brother.
And he also came with a question.
All right. What's your question?
What is your vision for the future of the future?
Oh, the vision of the future? Okay, you guys check this out. I wrote an article. It's called the future of the future, like my thoughts on what is a call to action for design education. Please just read that. It's on the Chris Do Business Designer page on Facebook. And I have this grand vision and I want to share it with you. But if you want to read it in exacting details to know why am I doing this, that's the best place to read about it. It's like a page and a half of the plan. And let me just tell you, somewhere down the line, I believe this company is going to be $100 million plus company, okay? Meaning that's our valuation. I'm not saying that's our revenue. And we exist in this very specific place. I can hear the mic a little bit too
Sorry.
loud.
Yep.
Okay,
My bad.
thanks. That we exist in this very rare place, okay? So what you have a lot of people on social media that are famous for being famous, that they're big personalities, but they haven't really produced a whole lot. And then you have people who are just animals, beasts, legends of design and creativity, but they're too busy doing their work. Or maybe they're just not great teachers. Maybe they're really kind of flat in their personality, and that's nothing wrong because not everybody is made to be in front of a camera. And then there's people like us, and there's a handful of people out there that have done professional work, that know what they're talking about, and are willing to produce and share content like the way we are for free for you guys to help you guys grow. And I think that's a very narrow space, okay? And so I think we exist in a space, and if my theory, my hypothesis is true, this channel will continue to grow, and we're going to hit 1 million and then 2 million subscribers, and we're going to just keep growing. And then the companies that find that their brand is in alignment with ours, that our user base, our subscribers are the same, they're going to start to throw money at us. And then we can subsidize all the content that we create for a fraction of the cost today. Meaning, you guys that have $5 can afford a $500 kit because the corporate sponsors are paying for it. Now, if this sounds crazy, it's not. The business model already exists. You guys watch broadcast television, that content costs a lot of money to create, like Friends or Seinfeld or whatever show that I'm not watching today. 2.5 Men. It costs a lot of money to produce that content, but you don't have to pay a dime for it because advertisers pay for it. And that's the way it should be. So maybe Adobe needs to pay for this thing, or Canon, or Sony, or Panasonic, or the monitor companies, or the tripod companies. They can help pay for this because who we're speaking to will be a customer, consumer of theirs. That makes a lot of sense to me. But the big vision of this company, I really see this as a completely multimedia company. We have a news journal that we produce that's print that you could have. There's obviously a digital component to that. We're publishing books, the typography manual which we're working on, or the logo grid project that we're going to be working on with like the logo geek person, okay? With Ian. We're going to be producing books and content and kits and courses. We just dropped the new lettering course with master designer, my teacher from Art Center, Nils Lindstrom. We want to bring on other people who design fonts for a living, people who paint concept art, or those kinds of things. We want to bring the best of the best in terms of their knowledge base and their personality and their teaching style to help you guys learn what you need to learn for a fraction of what it will cost to go to a traditional school. In that way, I think we're going to disrupt the education model, and then we're going to build this amazing campus of 50,000 square foot space, 100,000 square foot space, I don't know, a giant place where people from all over the world can come here and park their butts here and learn with us and meet people and network, and then go back to whatever country they came from and use that knowledge and that experience to better themselves. What a dream. This is what I want. What's next?
So we just got a couple more donations.
Awesome. Just don't tell me the dollar amount, just tell their names.
Maria Ann.
Maria
Thanks for
Ann,
sharing your knowledge.
That's my former student, right? Maria Ann, what's up? Yaboseo?
Yaboseo.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got Michael Camo.
Michael Camo.
Thanks for the great videos.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Michael. Who else? Anybody else? No?
That's it so far.
What about a question?
That's plenty.
We
got a bunch of questions.
Okay, one or two more questions.
Okay.
It's getting hot in here. We turn off the fan. I'm starting to cook here.
So, a lot of people have asked this one. What is the most important thing you know now about the industry that you wish you knew back when you were starting?
All right, that's a big one. That's a monster of a question. A very good question. Who asked that question?
That's a very well-known viewer here. Christopher.
Christopher, a very well-known viewer named Christopher asked, what do I wish I knew then that I know now, right? Right. So if I can travel back in time and tell a younger Chris some pieces of knowledge, what I would do is I would try to teach them this thing called brand strategy, that you are capable of producing multi-billion-dollar brand identities, not for that amount, but for companies that are worth that amount. And I had to teach them these skills because this seems to be the crux of what we're doing. I'd also tell them you have to live publicly, you have to live socially, that there's going to be these new platforms that are going to come online in a couple of years called Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, and it's good to be out front and start to learn to live a more transparent life, document the work you do, and share it with the world freely. Don't worry about the money. Just share it and give to people and see what happens, and build a community around learning, because you love to learn and you love to teach and share. So do that. Don't serve the corporate masters. Do this thing that you are so passionate about. That's what I would tell my younger self.
I think you just answered another question there. So a young 10-year-old kid was on here.
10-year-old kid watching YouTube?
Your kids watch YouTube, right?
They do, but they don't watch me. They think I'm boring. I showed them that Photoshop tutorial. My young son's like, "Oh, Dad, this is boring."
Well, he doesn't want to know how to cut out ink or whatever.
No, he doesn't. So, my older son was. Dad was good.
Nah, like his ass, man. Okay, anyway, so you answered his question too.
All right, cool.
Spencer Foster, $5. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Spencer, dude, and congratulations on graduating from school. I hope to see you in the near future.
Okay, we have another question here.
Yeah.
This one's kind of specific. It's about illustrators.
I can handle illustrators. Go ahead, ask me the question.
What do you find in in your experience with illustrators and comic artists that you hire?
Yes.
What are they missing when it comes to business?
They're missing everything, unfortunately. Illustrators are one step away from a graphic designer and one step closer to being a fine artist. They're in this weird no man's land. The illustrators that have done really well in their careers have moved into motion design. It's become a thing at Art Center where illustrators are able to declare a major if they want to do illustration, concept art, or if they want to do motion design. I've seen most of the illustrators that move into graphic design / motion graphics do really well for themselves because there's a ongoing demand for this work. It pays pretty well. If you're working within the motion design industry, a day rate might be anywhere between, say on the low end, like $250 a day to as much as $900 a day or even more. Okay. And the cool thing about illustrators is they're not limited by the images they can find. If you can't find something, you just illustrate it and you make it. A former, he's not a former student of mine, but a graduate from Otis, and I'm gonna try and get him on the show. His name is James Levy, and he's an awesome concept artist. But he figured out this is going to be difficult for me to go do concept art, and sometimes it could be very technical. So he had all the skills of an illustrator and a concept artist. He could paint pretty much anything in Photoshop, and then he started to learn about photo compositing. And with that, he applied himself into the motion industry and is doing really well. So James Levy is one of the poster children for success of switching from illustration into motion design. He designs crazy cool motion design storyboards. So if you guys want to look him up, his name is James Levy, and I'll put his link down below and you guys can check that out later. What else can we do?
Okay. So here's one that I'm sure a lot of people are running into this, but what would you recommend to a designer that knows everything about the software, right? So they know their way around Photoshop, all the tools.
Yeah.
But they're lacking the fundamentals. What kind of book or other kind of media would you recommend?
Okay. If you truly know everything there is to know about the tools, which I highly doubt. A lot of people say that they do, but they don't. Let's just say that's the case. I can work with you because what I can't do is to spend my time training you to use software. So now you're in this dilemma. If you know the technical stuff, but you actually don't know design or composition, here's what you're going to do, okay? You're going to find 5 masters. You pick your masters, and you're going to copy their work exactly without using any of the elements that they have. I want you to recreate that. And I want you to walk into any studio and say, you know, these are not original ideas. These are things I painted. These are things I created. I know how to make these things. I just need help in applying it to something. Okay, there's amazing resources online like PSD Tuts. Tuts is Tuts. There's a lot of free things that they show you how to retouch images to make a person's hand turn into liquid and cool design effects on top of it. Just do the tutorials exactly. And if those files aren't available, all you have to do is go and become a PSD Tuts Pro member, focus for 2 months, download all the assets and do the tutorials and then drop out of that. You spent what, $30, $60? I don't know what you spent. You're going to be able to create a portfolio of 5 to 7 pieces, and that's all you need to get work. But I'm not sure that's the case. A lot of people say they're good at this and that, and they're really not. So prove me wrong. Show me that you can do this. And I'm not just pulling something out of my butt. This is an assignment I give to my sequential design students when I was teaching at Art Center, which I no longer teach there, but we would have an assignment. It's called the master copy. I picked the frames. I gave them stuff that they didn't know how to do. And believe it or not, in 2 weeks, they did a pretty darn good job of copying the masters, okay? Aaron, I think I'm going to have to wrap up.
We got another
You got another donation?
Here.
Does he have a question?
It's Rong Jiang.
Rong Jiang?
It's really
Is he Chinese?
Yeah.
Does it sound Chinese to you?
It sounds Chinese.
All right, Ron, that's your how. Go ahead.
He said, it's really comforting to learn that there's logic and reason behind this creative passion of mine. Thank you for making your knowledge so accessible.
Thanks. I'm a super logical robotic process person. I believe what I do is creative. Sometimes it looks artistic. I do not consider myself an artist, okay? And so all I can do, and this is one of my gifts, I think, is my ability to break things down to be super analytical and share it with you. And it turns out, even the most complex human behavior and decisions with enough understanding and through the creation of algorithms can recreate human thought. And it's pretty amazing. So all those people are like, oh, you know, creative process can't ever be understood and can't be explained to anybody. I think you're wrong. Okay. Now, Aaron, I think it's time for me to wrap up here. But before I go, I want to ask you guys this question. Please let me know. What do you guys think of this format? And I'm not asking this rhetorically. I would love for you to comment. We've stripped it all down. It's just you, me, Aaron, a camera, 2 lights, a rim light, and we're just talking to you like this. Did you enjoy this format? Do you wish we went back to the 3-4 camera setup with keynote decks and multiple people and all that kind of stuff? Do you want that? Or do you like it like this? I just want to know from you guys. Let me know, please. And let's end on one final question before I get out of here. or not?
I mean, the thing is, there's no question I feel like is a good
To
last
end it,
question.
so we should end it on this.
I mean, there's just going to be more and more questions.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a question, Aaron. What did you think about this format? It's a lot easier for us to set up. Do you think this is what the people want from us, or do you think there's some idea that you have?
Do I think there's some? I think this is great. I think this is much better.
Is it better?
Yeah, just like talking to the people,
Okay.
helping them with what they need help with,
And so for the other stuff, we will do edited videos, right? Like I
Yeah.
want to show you guys how to draw the golden rectangle by hand with nothing more than a compass, a straight edge, or and a triangle or something like that. And I want to show you the beauty of this and to explain it to you. I did an Illustrator version, but I really wanted to draw it by hand. And I have a compass, I have a board, I'm ready to go. I'm going to show you guys how to draw letter forms and how to set type, and I'm going to do that. I want to show you guys how to add texture to type in Photoshop. Like, I don't know many things well, but the two programs I know really well are Illustrator and Photoshop. Now, I don't know every bell and whistle about both programs because they're always changing, but I do know how to use them to create designs very efficiently, and I can share that with you, okay? So I know that the other video I posted yesterday, the one where we're talking about layer mask versus multiplying screen, and the internet's crazy, it's like they're still telling me how to do it better. I'm like, you can do it your way. I'm just trying to share with you the way I do it, and I hope that helps you, okay? I think that's it for me, you guys. This was a little bit over time, and sorry for the no notification and the stripped down process. If you guys like it, please comment, let me know. I do read your comments, you guys know. There is no robot, it's me. There's no machine learning, it's just me. I read it, so I know what you guys want. I know what you like, and I know what you dislike, because you know why? You tell me. That's it, you guys. I'm out of here. Aaron, cut this thing. Get me out of here. I'm going to go home. All right. There's going to be an awkward moment here because Aaron's actually running to the other room, and he's going to